Relationships, whether personal, professional, or family based, are central to our lives. They offer us a sense of belonging, support, and growth. But you see, building deep, trusting relationships isn't always easy. It takes a lot of intention, a lot of time, and care, especially today where everybody seems to be very busy and there are so many seemingly important distractions around. If you're looking to build genuine connections in your life, be it with friends, family, colleagues, or even romantic partners in terms of intimacy, then grab a chair. This is for you. Indewo, Kedu. That's hello. How are you in my language, which is Igbo language. I'm Excellence Enrique Joshua, and here I get to share my life, my thoughts, and the lessons I've picked up along the way. Now, what works for me might not work for everyone, and that's perfectly okay. This is just me keeping it real. So, if you vibe with honest conversations, then hit the subscribe button and follow me on Instagram, TikTok, LinkedIn, and Facebook at The Excellence Joshua and at Anurika Joshua on X. For more, now let's get right into it. As women, we often balance multiple roles, expectations, and pressures, and this kind of makes it more important to build relationships that uplift and nurture us. Whether you're 18 or you're 45, trust me, strengthening the relationships you have that add meaning and joy to your life can be very transformative. Today, I want to talk to you about deepening relationships and building trust. In case you're watching this on another platform that is not the ttIfoundation.org, kindly note that this video was inspired by the Techie Train Incubator community, and this video was created for them. You can find out more about the community by visiting www.thettifoundation.org. You'll find a link in the caption of the video. So when I'm speaking, there might be some illustrations or some things I'm going to be talking about. And because in that community, we are helping women build intentional friendships and relationships. You might not exactly relate, but I believe there are so many things you can still pick up from the video. How can you deepen your relationship and build trust that lasts? Before we begin to talk about that, I need us to first discuss why should we even build relationships? Why does it matter? You see, when all else fails and when the world is kind of wrapping up for a person, or your work is done, our accomplishments are behind us, and we're no longer our strongest. It is the relationships we have built that truly matter. In the end, what we cherish most is not the projects we have completed, it's not the accolades we have received, it's not the connections that have carried, it's the connections that have carried us through life. Now, I've seen so many people, they say, oh, why is it that at the old age, daddies are just left alone and everybody tends to focus on their mom and daddy was there working hard to provide? It's because it's not in the things, it's in the people. Relationships are the bond that are offered to us or that kind of bring us so much laughter in good times and comfort in times of despair. And as time goes on, the people that have stood beside us, who know us deeply, who have seen our unfiltered selves, are the ones who leave the biggest mark on our hearts and who we want to do the same for. The love, the trust, and memories shared with these people become the most valuable the most valuable treasures that we hold. So ask yourself this question: are there people in your life with whom you can truly be real? When the curtain is winding down for you, are there people who would want to be with you? Are there people you can call up and talk to who, to them, it doesn't matter what you wear or who you are or if you're a director or anything, but then there are people who you have built authenticity and trust and mutual support with, who will accept you with open arms just the way you are. Relationships, to build relationships, require a lot of time. It also requires vulnerability and a willingness to invest in the life of others just as much as we hope they invest in us. And when all this busyness, all this I'm busy is gone, it is the people that we've let into our hearts and who stay with us that proves this at the end. And they tell us how we have built and nurtured the relationships that really counts. How do you treat people? What place does relationship fall in your life? In our community, um, at the Techie Trade Incubator at this time, you might be watching this video in the second month. You should have gotten acquainted with your match. And sometimes it can be a bit boring. I've had people write us emails to say my match is so busy, we don't seem to get to talk, and I really want to be intentional with this. Can you rematch me with somebody else? Where we're going to do that, there's a check-in form that has been provided. So fill out the form, and if it we check in, and if we should, we're definitely going to repair you. But trust me, building relationships in the world of today is a lot of work, but it's really, really, really is worth it and will be worth it. I want to share some tips that I think has worked for me in deepening relationships and building trust. I always say this, I'm an introvert, so I'm very much an introvert. And so when it comes to building relationships and going out there, most times it involves a lot of intentionality. I tend to have this thing in my head that I'm enough and so I can do stuff alone and I might not need people, but that's not true. It's a lie. And I had to call my bullshit for what it is, right? I had to call it out and say, no, this is not what it is, and this is not how it's supposed to be. I'm not enough by myself. And I realized that even going so far, like I can go so far and be so engrossed in work, and it could go on for weeks and even months, and I do not remember anything else. But I realized that there are points in between that I just get I feel lonely. Um, is it lonely or alone? It's not lonely. The word is alone. I feel alone. I feel alone. Yeah. Sometimes it happens, and I realize that all those I can do it on myself, I'm enough, does not cut it. So, relationships, how you build your relationships, and it's times like this that I want to reach out to my friends, I want to call them, I want to tell them, I just want to talk or I just want to listen. So, these are tips that I'm imbibing to build relationships and trust with people, and I hope you find something in it. The first thing I have learned is being honest and authentic. The foundation of any strong relationship is authenticity. Trust starts with being true to yourself. So, with relationships and friendships, you don't have to try to fit into somebody else or who they are and all of that and what they expect you to be. When you're honest about who you are, your dreams, your struggles, your values, it invites the right people to trust you. But when you try to be someone else, you attract the wrong people. And over time, you become frustrated. People are naturally drawn to authenticity because it feels real and it's genuine. I always say this, we feel it. You can lie all you want, but there's something about the energy you give up. So people will know something is not right. So you can lie all you want to others, but please tell yourself the truth. Be open about what you want in a relationship, whether it's friendship, romance, work partnership. Don't be afraid to state your needs and boundaries. Now, in stating your needs and boundaries, it's very important that to understand that the other person might not be on the same level with you. I've had friendships that kind of had to go or I lost because for me, I felt this cannot be more than friendship. It's friendship to me and it's what it is. But now this other person wanted something more and I just didn't think I had more to give to that person or I wanted more for that person. So yeah, it didn't turn out as I want in as much as I really wanted to keep that friendship. So that happens. But it's okay to have that friendship broken than to lie and pretend to the person and kind of string them along and waste their time. I don't do that. The person might also feel hurt initially that hey you don't want this, but I think at the end of the day the person will look back and say thank you for not taking advantage of me or just using me or stuff like that, which many people do. And for me, anyway, that's how I see life. But even if they don't look back and are grateful that I was clear and upfront about it, it's fine. So you need to be honest and authentic. Um, then when in being honest and authentic, it's important you communicate it to the person. Like I said, you want to be open about what you want. Then you want to reflect on your values and share them openly. Um, for example, I'm always clear with people that I'm very ambitious. I can cook, but I'm not a domesticated woman. I don't if I don't have to, I don't want to. I tend to work hard because I want to get money to buy what I need in terms of domestication to have that balance. But then this is who I am. As it's something you can deal with. Are you cool with it? Now I've had varying reactions to that. I've had people say, yes, that's the kind of woman I want, an ambitious woman. But then I've also had people who saw it as me judging them and me, how will I say, ambitious. So am I trying to say they're not? I didn't say that. I was just communicating who I am, but I can't control how they interpret or read it. But then they felt intimidated about it, and so they walked away, which is fine. Um, I've had those who thought, "Oh yeah, you're ambitious. That's what I want." But the truth is, the kind of ambition I was talking about was not the one they had in their head, and so that relationship fell through as well. So you need to, yeah. Do I feel hurt? Some of those relationships really hurt me that they had to go. I kind of mourned them for a bit, but then I knew that sometimes doing the right thing hurts, but at the end of the day, if you look back, you'll see that you're glad that you actually did that. So when you're authentic, it encourages others to do the same most times, paving the way for deeper and more meaningful connections. And at the end of the day, even if you're left to just one person, you know that it's really worth it. And this person is my person. For me, for relationships that I tried to string along and just assumed, it didn't usually end well. There were a lot of gaps, and you're trying to please the person's trying to please you, and I don't know, it just never ends well. Another thing I'm learning in deepening relationships is to listen deeply and show genuine interest. One of the greatest gifts you can give a relationship is your full attention. When you really listen without judgment or distraction, you show the other person that they matter to you. Listening helps build trust because it communicates that you value their feelings and experiences. Like, just be present. The first way I've tried to do this is putting my phone away. Now, during conversations, whether you're catching up or anything, give the person in front of you your undivided attention. Now, for me, I'm that kind of person that I don't know how to just be still and not do anything for a while. I always want to check my phone. I want to do something. But when it comes to trying to deepen relationships, I'm learning how to be present. There's this place I've always wanted to go to, and I actually wanted to vlog the experience and all of that. And I got there, all of this in my head, and I'm like, hey, this person also makes made the sacrifice to for me to be here. If I'm here trying to capture every moment, and instead of actually just being in it, then what's the point? At the end of the day, I just kept my phone away. I didn't vlog the experience as much as I wanted to, but there were a lot of things that we shared during those moments that are indelible in my heart. They're just there, and I really enjoyed them and just being. It was so beautiful. So sad I can't get to share with you guys the whole moment because I didn't vlog it, but it's what it is. I also decided to go out more. And the first thing that came to my mind was, hey, I'm going to go out with people, with friends. But I asked myself, if this friend is not really about capturing the experiences, then I'm not going to go with them. I'd rather go with them another time. I'm going to give you a typical example. I'm trying to spend more time with my son, but then I'm also trying to go out. So I'm like, hey, I'm going to go to the museum with him. But I'm like, if I go to the museum with him, I'm going to be so focused on trying to vlog everything that I might not be so present to show him the experiences and be there. So you see what I did? I booked two experiences in the museum. One experience I'm gonna go and I'm not just gonna vlog anything. I'm just gonna be with him and enjoy the moment. And then another experience I'm going to go alone with the intention of actually vlogging the moment. So put your phone down. Also, when you're listening, ask open-ended question. This shows that you're genuinely interested in their thoughts and feelings. Instead of saying, how was your day? You want to be like, what was the highlight of your day? What's something that you've been passionate about and why? You want to recreate what you've heard from them to be sure you're clear. Um, Now, not because you're trying to solve a problem. Sometimes you just want to listen. And in listening and showing genuine interest, you want to also be empathetic. Don't listen to try to respond or judge. Um, Sometimes you can just offer support without trying to fix it. Sometimes people just want to be heard. They just want to rant. And you might just, when they finish ranting, you can just pour them water and be like, okay, you don't ranting. Can we move on now? Or you can also ask, what do you want me to do here? Do you want me to say something or do you want me to just hug you? What do you want? Sometimes you can fix everything, but you just want to be there. Listening is not just about hearing words, it's about understanding the person behind the words. And when you listen with attention, you build trust naturally. Another way to deepen relationship is be reliable and show up. Consistency is very important in everything, especially in today's world. Be reliable and show up. Trust is built over time. I'm so surprised that you meet someone in 2 weeks and you're like, you mean you don't trust me? I'm like, I just met you. I don't even know you. Why do you want me to really trust you? I believe you, yeah, but you can't force me to trust you. I don't know you, right? Trust is built over time. And one of the best ways to end trust is by being consistent. When people show that when people know that they can count on you, it strengthens your bond. Whether it's showing up for a friend in need or following through on a commitment, it speaks volumes about your character, especially when you keep doing it. Trust me, I can be a busy person. One of the ways I'm deepening relationship and connections is trying to be there for people. I know sometimes some people think, oh, she has all the time in her hands. I do not. I do not. I do not. It takes a lot of sacrifice and intentionality and working things around and saying, how can I win on all ends? Maybe I can do this and do that at the same time so that I have time to actually be there for this person, show up for people. Keep your promises, even small ones. If you say you will call or visit, follow through. These actions build reliability. But I also understand that sometimes some things are beyond our control and you really cannot. You really have a genuine heart and you made a promise based on what you think you thought you knew at a certain point, and then you realize that those things are not happening anymore and they're beyond your control. I always say this, it's okay to unpromise, but it's not just unpromising, but it's about communicating it and how you communicate to the person. If you can't keep a commitment, be upfront about it. Let the person know in advance that you can meet this deadline or you can attend an event or something. The truth is, you can only give from yourself. You can only love as much as you love yourself. You can pour from an empty cup. So if you feel empty and you're not able to go through, it happens. It's fine. You're human. It's just important that you communicate, but also try to communicate on time. Um, be there for people in times of need. When life gets tough, people around you show up. Even if maybe it could be a message, it could be, I always say this, love is sensitive. Love is sensitive. Love is sensitive. If you truly love somebody, you be sensitive. The person doesn't need to ask you specifically to say, this is what I need. If someone is constantly telling you, I'm hungry, uh, I'm so hungry, the person tells you in the morning, the person tells you in the afternoon, in the evening, you should not be saying, oh, sorry. If you have food, give the person food. You don't even have to. You can just go find something and just put it under their pillow or just drop it in front of their door or something. If there's a way you can help, love is very sensitive and love helps without asking. If they always have to ask you before you come through, then something is wrong. Now, I don't mean you should go about being a fixer. You just need to be sensitive and pay attention and know when you're needed, where you're needed, and how. Reliability builds trust, and trust strengthens relationships. When people know they can count on you, they feel safe, and safety is a key ingredient to deepen relationships. Another way to deepen relationship is vulnerability. Don't be afraid to open up. Yeah, being vulnerable can feel scary, especially if you've been hurt in the past. But vulnerability is essential in creating deep and trusting relationships. And when you're open about your fears, your insecurity or challenges, you invite the other person to do the same. Sometimes people do not do. In being vulnerable, we're talking about sharing not just your successes, but your struggles. I always tell people I'm still on my journey. Yeah, you want to learn from me, but sorry, there's some. I will tell you the truth. I'm not perfect. Um, this is how it is. Someone is like, "How are you able to do all of this?" And I'm like, to be honest, I believe you can have it all, but I don't believe you can have it at the same time. And I was clear in a meeting I had recently, and I told him, I said, usually something has to give, and you are the one that would decide what it is that has to give. In being vulnerable, it's not just about sharing and talking. It's also being vulnerable with intention. Not every situation requires you to bare your soul, or bear the whole story, but you have to know why you're talking about it and what you want the person to get out of it. And it takes a lot of trust to do that. And also, vulnerability is also in situations where you admit that, hey, I don't have all the answers. Admit that you're wrong. It shows that you're human like everyone else. You're not. Nobody wants to be so close to someone that feels you're always perfect, you're always right, and they might come close to you, but then they can be real with you. You want to be human, and you want to. I always say this: give people grace. You want to also respect boundaries and practice patience. Every relationship needs healthy boundaries. So respecting boundaries show that you value the other person's space and needs. For me, the way I do this is I ask. Don't assume that the other person you guys are on the same level. Um, for example, if I have a friend who is married or who just got married, I'm going to ask, is it, are there times I should not call? Are there things I should not say? How would you want me to relate with you? You want to ask and be clear. Don't assume. Don't just go with the flow and understand what they feel towards you. You also want to be patient. Not everyone will be ready to open up immediately, and that's okay. Give the relationship time to grow. But it's also important that you communicate your own boundaries, your own limits and boundaries, even if they do not ask you. And then the final thing I'm going to talk about is practice forgiveness. No relationship is perfect, and conflicts are bound to happen. What matters is how you handle them. Holding on to grudges weakens a relationship. You want to give people grace, and to practice forgiveness, you have to address the conflict openly. If someone hurts you, let them know that you feel how you feel in a respectful way. Avoid letting resentment build. I let a relationship go because I felt she had a resentment about something about me. And she didn't tell me. And I got to find out because we had another issue, and then it came up. You know how you have issue with somebody, and the person begins to say, that time you did this. I was very hot. You didn't tell me, and this was like months later. I felt so sad and I felt disappointed. I also felt very hot. But beyond all of these feelings, what I felt was scared. I was like, I can't trust this person. So you had this resentment all this while, and knowing the kind of person that person is, and the person also has other best friends, I felt this person might have talked to somebody else about this, but you didn't talk to me about it. But then there are some things that she had said that it was why she was acting some certain way. And yeah, I saw her acting this way, but I wasn't sure why she was doing that. I didn't know she saw me in those ways. Well, I forgave her and I apologized and said, I didn't know you held on to this. But then I'm sorry. But for me, that was it for the relationship. Do I still love her? Yes, but I just didn't trust her. Um, so address conflicts openly and timely. Be willing to forgive. Let go of past mistakes. But it's also okay to redefine how you want to engage moving forward with that relationship. It's very much okay. Because at the end of the day, you try to see what matters to this person, how this person respond. You can't control how the other person respond, which is normal, but then you do your part. As women, um, we're trying to build intentional friendships in this busy and ever changing world. Most times we have all these expectations and all. Without trust, even your closest relationship can be shallow and for retention. And I they used to say this thing, don't tell people about your what's going on in your marriage or with your relationship. It's not true. There has to be someone you can trust that would help you make can listen to you and make it make sense. Yeah. Let's not lie. Say no third party. Don't no no no. Yeah. The truth is most times if you don't have the right person to talk to, it's not because there's no third party. It's okay to share. Especially when you do, when you have other friends like that, you don't build your life around your partner or one person. Because trust me, it doesn't end well. So when trust is at the heart of a relationship, you're most likely to receive support, encouragement in hard times, and it can just it can just be everything. Um, so yeah, I don't want this video to be longer than this. If you found this helpful, hit subscribe. Remember to follow me on Instagram, TikTok, LinkedIn, and Facebook at the Excellence Joshua and at Anurika Joshua on X, which is also called Twitter. Um, what were your greatest lessons from this? Have you been hurt by relationships? Do you still want to try to build them? How has it been for those in the community building intentional friendships, especially when they see women are not ready to do that? I see you guys doing it, and how has it been for you? Tell me.